My daughter slammed her hand on the table, her voice reverberating through the room. Enough, Mom. Leave. Nobody wants you here, she shouted. I sat there, stunned, my heart racing, tears welling up in my eyes. Then my husband stood up slowly, his expression filled with silent anguish. In that heavy quiet, he did something none of us would ever forget. Hey, Reddit. Family dinners used to be a neutral space. Not warm, not loving, but bearable. Recently, though, it felt like stepping into a storm with a flimsy umbrella. That night, I felt the tension the moment my mother arrived. Her perfume was sharp, her footsteps even sharper. She surveyed the house like an inspector, as if she owned every inch of it. My husband, Mark, gave me a reassuring glance, one that silently communicated, "We'll get through this." My daughter, Lily, hardly looked up. At 15, she was stubborn, protective, and allergic to any form of insincerity. We sat down together. It looked like a family dinner, but it felt like a countdown. My mother began the evening with subtle digs, comments she masked as helpful advice but felt like small slaps. "You work too much," she said, eyeing the casserole as if it had offended her. "You're never home," she added, glancing at Mark. "You don't prioritize family," she said loudly enough for Lily to hear. Lily's eye twitched. Mark stiffened. I breathed through the familiar sting. I tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, but my mother pressed on. "You know," she said sweetly, "a good family always does things together. I don't understand why you can't find more time." "A mother should, Mom," Lily interjected quietly. "Please stop." But my mother kept going, tilting her head as if delivering a sermon. "You're raising your daughter wrong," she continued. "You're letting this house fall apart." And then she turned to Mark directly. "You shouldn't put up with this." Mark's jaw tightened, and that was a spark. My mother leaned closer to Lily. "You know, sweetheart," she said, "your mother only thinks about herself. You deserve better." That was it. Lily slammed her palm on the table, so hard the silverware rattled. Her eyes were wet with fury. "Enough, Mom!" she screamed. Her voice pierced the air like thunder. My heart stopped. "Get out! Nobody wants you here!" Lily shouted. "Not me. Not Dad. Not Mom." The room froze. I stared at Lily, shocked. Breath caught in my throat. Mark's eyes widened. My mother recoiled as if she had been slapped. "You ungrateful," my mother stammered, her
They called
voice
me
shaking
home,
with anger.
sobbing about Dad's
"No,"
heart attack.
Lily said,
I
trembling.
rushed over,
"You're the one
only
who's
to be
ungrateful.
ambushed with papers
You
to
come
sign
here
away
to
my money.
criticize, to
I
insult,
pretended to sign,
to belittle us.
and then dropped a
We don't want that
bombshell that
anymore.
left everyone
I
stunned.
felt tears stinging
You
my
should
eyes.
have seen their faces.
Partly from shock.
Hey, Reddit.
Partly from
I
a
was
sense
3
of
time
relief.
zones away,
Something that shouldn't
just finishing a
comfort me,
meeting
but did.
when my phone
My mother
rang
glared at
nonstop.
me.
First
"This is
my
what
mother,
you taught her,"
then my
she hissed.
sister,
"To
then my
disrespect
uncle.
family."
When I
I
finally
swallowed
picked
hard.
up, my
"Mom,
mother was
please
crying
stop."
so loudly
She
that I couldn't
pointed at me.
understand her.
"You
My
let this
sister
happen.
grabbed the phone,
You allow her
crying
to
that
speak to
Dad
you
had a
like
heart
that.
attack,
You're a
and
failure
I
as a
needed to
mother.
come home immediately.
Lily jumped to her feet
My heart
again.
nearly
"Stop
stopped.
talking to her like
Without
that."
thinking,
My mother's
I
face
booked
twisted.
the first red-eye flight
"You don't
home,
own this family,
my
Lily,"
hands trembling
she
the whole
snapped.
time.
"No."
For a full
Lily
video,
replied
click link below.
quietly.
When
"But
I
neither
found
do
out my
you."
parents had
I
given the
sat there
family business
frozen,
to my sister,
my hands trembling.
I stopped putting
My
in
throat felt
80-hour
tight,
work weeks for
as
free.
if years of
A
repressed
week
pain
later,
were surging to the
Dad
surface
called
all
in a
at
panic
once.
about
"I'm your
losing
mother,"
our biggest
she
client.
said to me.
I simply
"I made
replied,
sacrifices.
"Let Paula handle
I raised
it.
you alone."
She's the expert, right?"
Mark's eyes softened
I've
toward
always
me.
believed in
He
earning
knew
my
what she was
spot.
leaving out.
When I entered the
The years
family
of
business
emotional
right after
manipulation,
college,
the guilt
I didn't
trips,
expect
the
any
constant
special
control
treatment.
disguised as care.
My parents
Lily
operated a
stepped toward her
mid-sized
grandmother.
consulting firm
"You didn't raise her,"
that they built from the
she
ground
said
up.
firmly.
I
"You
admired
drained
their
her."
hard work
My
and
mother
was
gasped
proud to
dramatically.
continue their legacy.
"How dare you?
For nearly 10
You're just
years,
a child."
I worked
Lily didn't
80-hour
flinch.
weeks.
"And you're
Not
cruel."
because they forced me to,
For the first
but
time
because
in
I wanted
years,
to prove I could
my
lead,
mother was left
innovate, and
speechless.
expand what they had
She shook,
established.
her lips
I didn't take a
moving,
salary
as if
for
she
the
couldn't
first
find
5
the words.
years.
Mark
Everything I
slowly
earned
set down
went
his
back
fork.
into business.
The calmness of
I
his
even
movement
lived
felt
in a small
terrifying.
one-bedroom
He
apartment
stood up
while
quietly,
my friends bought
painfully
condos
slow.
and new cars.
I looked at him.
I thought the
His
sacrifice
expression
was
wasn't
worth
anger.
it. For
it
a
was
full video,
devastation,
click link below.
as if something heavy
You have
inside
1
him
week
had
to
finally
leave.
shattered.
My brother
My mother
grinned
turned to
smugly
him,
across the dinner
desperate
table,
for support.
while Mom and Dad
"Mark,"
just
she
observed in
pleaded,
silence.
"say something.
I pulled out
Tell
the
them I'm
property
right."
documents.
But he didn't
Actually,
look at her.
you all have
He looked at
24
me.
hours.
In his eyes
Their
was a
forks
sadness I
clattered
had
down
never
when I
seen
spoke
before.
up.
A
Hey,
deep,
Reddit,
weary ache.
before we begin,
He pushed his chair back,
I've noticed the channel isn't
breath
gaining much
unsteady,
attention,
and said nothing.
and subscribing
"Mark,
is the best
what
way
are
to
you
support
doing?"
us.
my
It's
mother
quick,
asked, frowning.
free,
He didn't
and
respond.
truly helps this
His
wonderful
expression
community grow.
conveyed every
Now, let's
moment
start
he
the
had stayed
story.
silent for my
I never
sake.
thought I'd be betrayed
Every
over
time he
roast
had watched
chicken
me
and
shrink to
mashed
maintain
potatoes.
peace.
But life
Every
has a way
moment
of
Lily
delivering
had
its
noticed
harshest
and resented
blows
it.
in the most
In a
ordinary
thick,
situations.
suffocating silence,
It was a
he
chilly
finally
Sunday
moved.
evening.
Mark
The
walked to the
kind
hallway
where the
drawer,
wind shook the
opened it,
windows and the
and
house
pulled
smelled of
something out, an
rosemary and
envelope.
butter.
He
I
held
had
it in
just
his hand,
finished laying out the
staring
dinner
at it
table.
as if it weighed a ton.
Mom was near the fireplace.
My mother looked confused.
Flipping through a
What?
crumpled gossip
What is that?
magazine.
Mark
Dad was
inhaled
watching
deeply,
the evening news,
the kind of breath
and my
someone takes
older brother
before
Mark was
making
late,
an irreversible
as usual.
decision.
Even
Then he
though
walked
dinner was
back
set
to the
for 6
table,
o'clock,
his steps
he walked
slow
in at
and
6:30
heavy.
with a
He placed the
self-satisfied
envelope
grin,
in front of my
a
mother.
fancy watch
Her
on his
hands
wrist,
trembled.
and a bottle of
Mark,
expensive
she
wine that
whispered.
no one had requested.
What is this?
For a full
He didn't
video, click
answer.
link below.
He stepped back, his jaw tight, eyes glistening, but refusing to cry. Then he did something none of us had anticipated. Something that made my mother gasp, made Lily cover her mouth, made me choke on my own heart. He reached for his left hand and took off his wedding ring, placing it on the table. With a voice nearly breaking, he said, "This ends tonight." Mark's wedding ring sat on the table like a bullet someone forgot to fire. My mother stared at it as if it were an alien object. Lily covered her mouth, trembling. I couldn't breathe. Mark didn't yell. He didn't cry. He simply stood there, tense, his chest rising with shallow breaths. "Mark," I whispered, "what are you doing?" He didn't look at me. Not yet. His eyes were fixed on my mother, who was now pale, stunned, and terrified in a way I had never seen before. She pointed at the ring with a shaking finger. What does this mean?" Mark's jaw clenched. "It means," he said quietly, "that this cycle stops tonight." He pointed to the envelope he had placed in front of her. "Open it," he urged. My mother hesitated, her eyes darting between all of us. Finally, with slow, shaky fingers, she ripped the envelope open. Inside were photographs from years ago and court documents. My mother's face went pale. "Why do you have these?" she whispered. Mark's voice was steady. "Because I needed proof," he said. "Proof of what you did to your daughter. Proof of the damage you've caused for years." My stomach flipped. "Mark, what papers?" He looked at me then fully, and the pain in his eyes made my heart crack. He spoke gently. "These are custody transcripts, psychological evaluations, records from the years you lived with her as a teenager. The ones you told me about, the ones she denied existed." My mother slammed the papers face down. "You had no right. You had no right to do any of that to her," Lily shot back. My mother glared at Lily. "You're too young to understand." Lily stood tall. "No, I understand perfectly. You hurt Mom for years, and you still try to control her." Mark stepped closer to me. "I didn't want to bring this up," he said softly. "I didn't want to reopen wounds for you. But after everything tonight, I realized something." His voice cracked. "I've been protecting the wrong person." My mother gasped as if he had slapped her. "You think I'm the problem?" Mark turned to her, his eyes blazing with an anger I had never seen before. "Yes," he said. "You are the problem." His voice wasn't loud, but it carried more weight than shouting ever could. "You've spent years twisting things until your daughter doubts her own memory. You attack her confidence, her choices, her motherhood. You belittle her in front of our children." My mother's lip quivered. "I only ever wanted what's best." "No," Mark's voice cut through her lie like a knife. "You want to control." He faced me again. "I've watched you shrink around her. I've watched you apologize for existing. I've seen you carry the guilt she placed on you, and I've stayed quiet because I didn't want to create drama." He swallowed hard. "But silence is part of the damage." A tear rolled down my cheek. "Mark." He shook his head gently. "I'm sorry. I should have defended you sooner." My mother slammed her hand on the table. "This is ridiculous. You think she's a victim? She's ungrateful. She disrespects me. She's turned my granddaughter against me." Lily's voice erupted. "You did that yourself." My mother staggered back, looking at all of us like we were strangers. Her voice trembled. "I gave you everything," she whispered. "For what? For this." She pointed at Lily, who was shouting. She pointed at Mark, who was witnessing her humiliation. She pointed at me. "You're all ungrateful. All broken." Mark's voice dropped to a chilling calm. "No, we're finally healing." My mother's eyes widened. "You're choosing them over me." Mark didn't blink. "Yes," Lily whispered. Good. My mother's chest rose, fell, rose again, fast, shaky, panicked. Then she spat the cruelest sentence of all. Fine. If you want me gone, I'll go. But don't come crawling back when your children resent you. She grabbed her purse and stormed toward the door, turning the knob sharply. But Mark's voice stopped her in her tracks. Wait! She froze. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't move. But his next words cut sharper than anything else. You will not come back here again. My mother spun around. You can't ban me. This is my daughter's house. Mark stepped forward. No. This is our home, and our children come first. You don't get to hurt them any more or her. My mother's face contorted. You can't do this. Mark leaned closer, his voice as steady as stone. I already did. Silence enveloped the room. My mother looked at me, waiting, expecting me to pull Mark back, to apologize for him, to soften the blow like I always did. For the first time in my life, I didn't. I said nothing, just gave a small, exhausted shake of my head. That was when she realized she had finally lost her power. She stared at us, at all three of us, with a shock that almost resembled grief. Then she turned and walked out. The house felt hollow, heavy and quiet. Lily collapsed into my arms, trembling with adrenaline. I'm sorry, Mom, she whispered. I didn't mean to yell. I just couldn't let her keep hurting you. I hugged her tightly. You protected me, I whispered. And yourself. Mark stood a few feet away, shoulders sagging, eyes glistening. I didn't mean the ring, he murmured. It was to make her stop, to snap her out of whatever fantasy she was in. I'm not leaving. I need you to know that. Relief surged through my chest. I know, I whispered. I knew the moment you looked at me. He exhaled shakily and finally slid the ring back onto his finger. Lily wiped her eyes. Is Grandma really gone? Mark wrapped an arm around us both. She can come back when she learns how to be gentle. We all stood there, holding on to each other, three people who had finally stopped letting one person break them. And for the first time in years, I felt safe in my own home.